Episode 5 of the exciting Mikes, Cooper DeJean, and Reed Blankenship welcomed Zack Baun into these very same studios. Fran Duffy, Zach Berman. Fran, what was your biggest takeaway from that fun discussion?
Yeah, I really enjoyed hearing them talk about the relationship with Vic Fangio and Zach.
Love
kind of reliving and retelling his first exposure to Vic, like coming through the building on the when he first signed the contract and going up to meet with Fangio for the first time. I enjoyed that anecdote.
Yeah, the thing that Baun says, which we will play in a second, about this defense being so young, it makes you wonder. Maybe that was part of like what didn't work in Miami. Like they had some veterans who expected to be treated a certain way. Vic is not going to be doing that. He's an old school coach, as they say. That brought that to mind. But let's check out what Zack Baun said right now about his first meeting with Vic Fangio and why Vic has been so good with the Eagles.
What was your first interaction with Coach Fangio? Did he like sit you down when you came in and talk to you about like the defense and your fit at all, or no?
When I came in to sign last year, I'm like walking through the upstairs of the complex and shaking everybody's hand, getting to know everyone. And I walk into Vic's room. I didn't know anything about Vic. And I walk in there. I'm like, what's up, Coach? I'm Zach. Nice to meet you. Happy to be here. High energy. I just met everyone in the building, try to be as nice as possible. And he's in there watching like some old 2016 Baltimore Ravens defense clips. And the whole time I'm talking to him, I'm pretty sure he's still watching the clips. It was a short interaction. And then from there, the next interaction was probably through OTAs. I asked him, hey, when am I going to get some snaps on the edge? I used to do that in my past. Yeah. Like, that's kind of where I'm comfortable. He's like, we'll see. We'll see about it.
Yeah, he had a vision for you, dude.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
He did.
You're right, too.
What do you think it is about him that allows our defense to play so well together? I feel like it's the way he coaches us,
old
like
school
in the
coach.
meetings. Yeah.
Like he's an old school coach. Like he's not afraid to stand on business, to put it like that and be real.
Yeah.
And like we're bought in though. Like we can be coached hard.
Yeah, that's
and
definitely
we
what
accept
it is.
And then box drills.
I think our defense is so young that we like a lot of guys just came from college,
so they're used
and
to
that's
that.
what they're used to.
Yeah.
And they don't know any other way. Like the Georgia guys, like they're used to being coached hard and they can take coaching and stuff like that. But I think what makes Vic really special is the way he calls the game, like the plays he calls in certain situations.
Yeah.
I don't think we were in a split safety in a run versus a run that second half of that whole season. He was just calling the game right.
He's a good
dude. And like he believes in us too. Like
the Super Bowl, we played like 2 coverages the whole game.
Yeah, you want to play fast,
pretty much.
All right, Mr. Berman, what about you? What jumped out from the Zack Baun experience?
Yeah, I think Eagles fans.
What a joy to have him here.
Exactly.
Love to have him in the studio.
The most impressive ZB who came through here. So I thought what Eagles fans can really kind of take from there, and there's so many there, but when he was discussing the difference between New Orleans and Philly, and what I mean by that is he was talking about the drive to the game in New Orleans, where you don't have these parking lots full of tailgaters, and he was kind of reflecting on the experience there. And it's not to take away from New Orleans, which has its own unique environment, but the parking lot tailgating passion of Philly fans is unique. There are stadiums that are more in urban centers where you don't get that going into it. The parking for Saints games, it's a parking garage. And obviously, if you're in downtown New Orleans, there's bars you go to, but it's not quite the same game day atmosphere as driving. So I can only imagine a player like that who played at Wisconsin and probably saw that a lot, right? And your first 4 years in the NFL, you're in New Orleans. You play every year against Atlanta and Carolina. It's not quite the same, right? And then here you are, and your first home game in Philly, and he talked about the passion. I like his perspective on the booing that those Eagles fans give, where he's like, when they boo you, you deserve it. It makes you raise your game. When you give that type of answer, I think you're wired the right way to play in the city.
I think that has been a through line of the shows so far, is just everybody, all the players they've had on, their take on what it's like to play in Philadelphia, and it really is different. The fan culture here, and listen, we talk about it a lot. It's part of the reason we have our jobs,
Sure,
right? but to see how much that is passed on to the players themselves is interesting. Let's find out what Zack Baun said.
What was your first impressions when you first got here? And like, did you know anything about the fan base, how passionate they were?
Is it different? Like, is going from New Orleans to here, or is it kind of like the same atmosphere?
Yeah, it's different for sure.
Yeah.
Outside the stadium, New Orleans didn't have like a parking lot, so it wasn't really like a tailgating culture.
Oh,
it was more of like just walk in.
It is nice where our
walk in
stadiums
and the
though.
fans are partying. They were wearing Saints gear, but most of them were like just dressed up, wearing black and gold, just like partying at the games, and it gets loud. But here, the fans are different.
If you don't say
fans
go
are
Birds,
different.
if you don't say go Birds to somebody, they're like, you're not.
Yeah, I see it every time I'm walking around. So
Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Yeah. I'll be like, go Birds.
Yeah.
It's
Birds,
just
go
crazy.
Birds.
It's
The
like
best way I've heard it described is passionate.
Yeah.
They're just passionate. Win or lose, they're passionate.
That's how I describe it.
And when we're getting booed, I'm like, we deserve to get booed. Like, we got to
No, you're
step
right.
our shit up.
No, you're right.
All right, and then from my perspective, listen, it was really fun to find out about Zack Baun, the high school quarterback. You know, we on a show earlier this week we were talking about what guys could play other positions. You know, it might be fun to see him throw a pass. But from an actual Eagles perspective, like the mechanics of the offseason, I thought it was interesting to hear what we sort of expected, which is that, you know, Zack Baun, having been around the league a little bit and found his perfect spot, he wanted to get paid. But really, I mean, he wanted to be back on this team. And it really was a marriage that both sides wanted to make this happen. And obviously, I mean, they did, but he wanted to be here.
Yeah, that really stood out, and it was just a matter of the Eagles hitting his number. And so when we speak about the timing of it, right, like he didn't even test free agency. And we spoke about how at the Combine, obviously
Well, you
you
nailed
have
the
those
date.
discussions. Got lucky there. But how you have those discussions, but there's two ways of doing this. You can be like, I want to see what the highest number is, or you can say, this is my number. If you get to this number, I'm going to resign. I'm not going to shop it. And it was clearly the latter in his case.
And that's what's always fascinating when we have those conversations in the offseason is every player is its own specific case, right? And every contract is going to look a little different. While it is up to the agent to make sure he gets the best deal for his client, like the client, every client's going to have different priorities. And it was very clear that Zack's priority was staying here in Philadelphia.
Let's find out what he said.
So obviously after the season, you signed the big 3-year deal to bring you back to Philly. What was that process like, and what did that mean to you to be able to come back here, you know, where to a place that kind of, you know, you got your swagger back, I guess.
Yeah, it was tough because you want to get paid what you deserve, and I also didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And it was just, it all aligned perfectly where they were able to meet me where I wanted to be, and I get to stay here. So it was an easy choice for me to be like, yeah, I'm coming back to Philly. How can you win a Super Bowl?
I know.
I
do.
You
I
know, it's tough.
And like, yeah, I know.
It's tough, but crazy.
All right, good stuff once again from Zack Baun on the Exciting Mics. To come next week, another starter from the defense, an even younger player. That'll be a fun episode to watch. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part of the episode was. And join us every day, every weekday at 2 o'clock on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you later.